Close your eyes. Let the outer world dissolve. Let the facts, the noise, the waiting, all fade away. What remains is you and your imagination. And here's the secret. If you can feel it as done, then it is. You don't manifest with effort, you manifest with being. What you assume yourself to be inwardly, you express outwardly. This is not philosophy, it is law. The law of consciousness, unbreakable and exact. So ask yourself now, can you feel the end? Not wish for it, not long for it, but truly feel it as if it has already happened. The desire fulfilled, the prayer answered, the dream realized. There is no power outside you giving or withholding anything. Your inner world is the only cause. All things obey the feeling that dominates your inner space. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You are not asking the world to change, you are assuming it already has. And that assumption, when felt deeply and lived sincerely, compels the outer to mirror it. You are not hoping, you are not pleading, you are knowing. And knowing is the creative act. Begin now to live from the end, not toward it, not waiting for it, from it. You want love? Be the one who is already cherished. You want wealth? Walk as one who already has more than enough. You want healing? Move as one already whole. This feeling is the seed, and your world is the fertile soil. But it will not grow while you keep digging it up with doubt or water it with desperation. It grows when you rest, when you trust. And above all, when you stop trying to make it happen and instead you dwell in the state where it has already happened. That is the manifestation key. Feel it done and you shall see it done. Not by might, not by effort, but by the silent power of assumption. The world bends to the inner man who dares to say, "It is already so." And when that man walks the earth as though it were already true, the world has no choice but to follow. Be still now and feel it. It is done. Every desire you've ever had was not a call to action, but a call to assume. The world in all its shapes and changes does not respond to pleading or longing. It does not yield to effort alone. It bends to assumption, the quiet inner knowing that what you seek is already yours. There is a secret embedded in the fabric of reality. You are always assuming something, whether consciously or unconsciously, and these assumptions are not passive thoughts. They are living beliefs clothed in feeling. When you say, "This is who I am," and you feel it to be so, you move mountains unseen. Life then doesn't give you what you ask for with your lips. It gives you what you claim with your inner certainty. To assume something is not to daydream about it or to wish for it. It is to inhabit it as though it were real. It is to close your eyes and feel the chair beneath you, though the chair has not yet appeared. It is to walk through the world not with empty hands, but with the full heart of someone who already possesses their desire. When a man assumes he is healthy despite appearances of illness, and he remains loyal to that assumption, not just once but persistently, something changes. His body, his cells, his chemistry begin to shift in harmony with that inner belief. And when a woman assumes she is deeply loved, though the outer world may not show it, her experience begins to mirror that state in ways that defy logic. Why? Because the outer world is nothing more than a mirror held up to your inner state. People often say, "I'll believe it when I see it," but this is the very reversal of the truth. In this realm of consciousness, you see it because you believe it. The assumption comes first, the evidence follows. To assume is to plant the seed. The manifestation is merely the unfolding of that seed in the garden of life. But many do not know they are assuming. They think they are reacting to life. They do not see that life is reacting to them. A man who assumes he is always unlucky will find misfortune on every corner, not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It takes the mold of your assumption and pours itself into it. If your mold is brokenness, life will show you pieces. If your mold is wholeness, life will show you completion. Assumption works in silence. It does not shout, it does not fight, it simply is. It carries the power of creation without lifting a single finger. The one who truly assumes does not chase, he does not beg, he does not force. He enters the state of the wish fulfilled and dwells there, confidently and quietly, as though the promise has already been kept. You must ask yourself not what do I want, but what am I assuming right now? Are you assuming that you'll always struggle, that you're not good enough, that things never work out for you? If so, the world must echo that belief. But if you dare to assume that everything is working in your favor, even when your senses scream otherwise, something remarkable happens. The world begins to reflect that faith. This is the mystery. To assume is to create. You have no need to convince anyone, to manipulate, to push the pieces into place. All you must do is choose the state you wish to live in, assume it fully, feel it deeply, and let life catch up. You are the operant power, and your assumption is the key. When you assume the best and live from that end, the best must appear. Not by chance, but by law. There is an invisible bridge between the world you imagine and the world you experience, and that bridge is feeling. Thought alone is not enough. Words, no matter how poetic or powerful, do not create unless they are charged with emotion. It is what you feel deeply that shapes the fabric of your reality. Feeling is the alchemy that transforms the unseen. Every creation begins in the invisible. A desire stirs in the quiet depths of your mind, but that desire cannot manifest unless it is felt into being. Emotion gives it life. It is the spiritual substance that clothes the formless with form. Without feeling, desire remains a shadow, an idea, not a reality. The world is not moved by logic, it is moved by energy, and emotion is concentrated energy. When you feel something strongly, whether joy, fear, gratitude, or sorrow, you are broadcasting that frequency into the field of life. And this field is not indifferent. It responds to the vibration of your inner state. What you feel, you attract. What you sustain emotionally, you embody. And what you embody, you experience. You may say, I want success. But if you feel doubt or anxiety or unworthiness, then it is not success you are calling in. It is resistance. You are crossing the bridge of feeling in the wrong direction. The outer world cannot help but reflect the truth of your inner emotional atmosphere. So the key is not to simply think positively or repeat affirmations like a machine. The key is to enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagine what it would be like if your desire were already yours, and then dare to feel that now. The joy, the relief, the peace, the gratitude. That feeling is the doorway. That feeling is the bridge. It carries you from longing to fulfillment. Not someday, but this is why children often manifest so easily. They imagine vividly and feel without resistance. They do not question whether what they feel is possible. They simply step into the scene in their mind and feel it is real. And life responds accordingly. The adult, on the other hand, hesitates, doubts, rationalizes. But the law remains the same. What you feel deeply, you make real. Every outcome you have experienced, good or bad, has been traced back to a feeling. The feeling of being unwanted becomes the experience of rejection. The feeling of being supported becomes the experience of abundance. It does not matter what appears to be happening outside of you. What matters is the emotional blueprint you hold within. When you deliberately choose to feel the end result, even when the senses show otherwise, you are shifting timelines. You are moving from the known to the unknown, from possibility to certainty. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. And that knowing, felt in the heart, becomes the cause of all future events. Do not wait for the world to give you something to feel good about. That is not how this works. You must feel it first. And in feeling it, you set the wheels of reality in motion. Life will always meet you at the level of your emotion, not your intention. So ask yourself often, what am I feeling right now? Because that feeling is sending instructions to your world. If you want love, feel loved. If you want freedom, feel free. If you want success, feel successful. Not later, not after, but now. This is not pretending, this is creating. It is not about faking a mood. It is about aligning with the state where your desire already lives. Walk across the bridge. Don't just think it. Feel it. Because feeling is the bridge, and the only way to make the unseen become seen. You are not waiting to create. You are not creating only when you sit in meditation or speak words of affirmation. You are always creating. Every moment, every thought, every feeling is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your life. Whether you are conscious of it or not, your inner state is shaping your outer world. There is no pause. There is no off switch. The creative power within you is constant, and it responds faithfully to the energy you radiate. Your thoughts, when infused with feeling, are prayers, unspoken requests sent into the field of infinite possibility. But they are not just requests, they are commands, directives, seeds. Each thought, clothed in emotion, plants itself in the soil of consciousness. And what is planted must grow. What is felt must find form. The world around you is not happening to you, it is growing from you. This is why it is not enough to wish. A wish is often fleeting, half-hearted, filled with doubt. But a belief, a feeling, a deep inner conviction, that is power, that is the force that moves mountains. You may not even speak your desires aloud, yet if your heart is full of certainty, the outer world bends to it. And likewise, even if your mouth utters affirmations of abundance, but your soul is anxious or afraid, the world will reflect the fear, not the... Creation is not an event. It is a condition, a state of being. You are like a radio tower, constantly transmitting a signal. And that signal, formed by your dominant thoughts and feelings, determines what you attract and what you repel. It is not what you do in rare moments of concentration that shapes your life. It is who you are being in every ordinary moment. You cannot fool this process. You cannot fake this signal. Life responds to your real vibration, not the mask you wear or the words you rehearse. If you walk through the world with an inner posture of lack, the world echoes it back with absence. If you live with the quiet confidence that you are supported, chosen, and blessed, you'll begin to see signs of that truth manifesting everywhere. It is humbling to realize how much of our life is not chance, not fate, but the outpicturing of inner patterns. And it is empowering to know that at any moment you can shift your state and begin sowing new seeds. The question is not whether you are manifesting, the question is what you are manifesting. By what you continually dwell on, fear, imagine, and feel. A man who lives in constant worry is not only suffering emotionally, he is also cultivating a future shaped by that worry. A woman who silently carries the assumption that she is never chosen, never seen, is unknowingly authoring a reality where that remains true. These inner stories, repeated often and charged with emotion, become scripts for the world to act out. But when you awaken to this truth, you begin to choose differently. You begin to guard your inner state. not out of fear, but with reverence. You recognize that your imagination is sacred ground, and what you allow to take root there will soon show itself in your life. There is no neutral moment. Every second you are emitting, shaping, sculpting. You are always creating. So become deliberate. Begin to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I assuming right now? And if the answer does not serve the life you desire, change it, shift it, replace it with a better seed. The world is a garden and your mind is the planter. Sow wisely, feel richly, imagine fully, and know that the harvest is not in someone else's hands. It is growing beneath your very feet, springing from the prayers you didn't even know you were praying. To live from the end is to become the embodiment of your desire fulfilled. It is not hoping, wishing, or waiting. It is being. It is the sacred shift from seeing your desire as something outside of you to knowing it as something already accomplished within you. You are no longer chasing after your dream. You are living as if it were already your truth. The common mistake many make is to dwell on their desires. They think of them often, speak about them, even daydream about them, but always from a place of distance. The desire remains something over there, separate and unreachable like a star in the sky. But to live from the end is to bring that star down and place it in your heart. It is to walk, speak, feel, and move as if that desire is already your present reality. When you live from the end, you do not ask, when will it come? That question vanishes because you are already in the state of possession. Time dissolves, lack disappears. What remains is the peace, the satisfaction, the certainty of fulfillment. You become one with the result, and when that union happens within, it must reveal itself without. This way of being is not about pretending. It's not about tricking the mind or acting for show. It is a deep inner conviction, a shift in consciousness. You are not hoping to be wealthy. You are wealth in form. You are not seeking love. You are love fulfilled. This inner identification is what magnetizes the outer experience to you. The world, in its obedient nature, rushes to mirror the truth you hold inside. Think of a person who has already received their heart's desire. How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they carry themselves in the world? There is no strain, no grasping. There is grace. There is knowing. When you live from the end, you assume that identity, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You no longer need proof because you have become the proof. This is the great paradox. When you stop looking for it and start living from it, it finds you. The person who feels unworthy will continue to experience rejection. The person who feels chosen will naturally be chosen. Why? Because the outer world simply reflects the inner world. It cannot help it. It does not argue, it echoes. So the question is not how do I make it happen? The true question is, can I inhabit the version of me where it's already happened? That version of you already exists in consciousness. You do not create it, you step into it. You occupy that mental home and claim it as yours. When doubt arises, when circumstances seem unchanged, return to the state. Re-enter the scene of the wish fulfilled. Feel it again, touch it again in imagination. Not as a dream, but as a memory. The mind does not know the difference between real and imagined, only what is felt. And what is consistently felt becomes fact. The greatest secret of creation is this: the end contains the path. When you assume the end as already done, life rearranges itself to bring it forth. You do not need to know the how or the when. You only need to know the what and feel that it is already so. Living from the end is not about doing more. It is about being more. Being the one who already is, already has, already knows. It is from that sacred state that miracles unfold, not because you force them, but because you align with them. Enter the end and remain there, and what you assumed will not delay. It must come because it is already yours. Detachment is not about giving up. It is not about becoming indifferent or careless. True detachment is trust, the kind of trust that allows you to step back, breathe deeply, and surrender the details to a higher intelligence. It is the sacred understanding that your job is not to construct the path brick by brick, but simply to feel the end result as real and let life orchestrate the unfolding. Most people block their manifestations not because they don't desire strongly enough, but because they grip too tightly. They obsess over the how, trying to figure out every step, worrying if they're doing it right. They fixate on the when, growing restless and anxious if it doesn't arrive on their schedule. But both of these mental habits arise from the same root: a lack of faith, a belief that it won't happen unless they push it into being. But that's not how creation works. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it was never meant to carry the weight of the entire process. Your true power lies in imagining the end and feeling it as already done. That is your work. That is the cause. The effect, the means, the method, the timing belongs to something far beyond your conscious control. It belongs to the unseen laws that govern all of life. When you try to force the how, you step out of your creative role and into a reactive one. You begin adjusting your vibration to match doubt instead of fulfillment. When you chase, you affirm that you don't yet have it. When you grow impatient, you declare that it's still missing. These inner declarations cancel the very thing you're trying to call in. Detachment then is not passivity. It's alignment. It is the quiet, confident stance of one who knows that what is imagined with feeling and consistency must become fact. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil will grow when left undisturbed, so too will your desire come to life when you allow it the space to unfold. The moment you have felt the end is real, the moment you have touched the state of the wish fulfilled, creation is complete. You don't need to repeat it 1,000 times or beg the universe to respond. You only need to remain faithful to that inner knowing and refuse to dig up the seed with doubt. Let the path reveal itself. Let life surprise you. Often the route your desire takes will look nothing like what your mind expected. It may come through people you've never met, opportunities you didn't anticipate, or events that seem unrelated. But if you insist on managing every detail, you may block the very blessings trying to reach you in unexpected ways. You are not here to figure it all out. You are here to feel it all real. You are here to dwell in the state of completion, and in that state, your world will reorganize itself. Detach from how, detach from when. Release the timeline. Let go of the urge to monitor progress, check the signs, or compare your journey to others. All of these things stem from fear, and fear creates resistance. Return daily to the feeling of the end. Bask in it, breathe it, own it, and then live your life with joy and openness, knowing that the wheels have already turned in your favor. When you truly let go, not with resignation, but with assurance, you make space for the unseen to work wonders, and in that space, creation becomes effortless, because you are no longer interfering. It is done. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to know that it is happening, even now, and to trust enough to let go. The world you see, touch, and move through each day is not random. It is a mirror, exact, responsive, and deeply personal. It reflects not your wishes, not your words alone, but the certainty you carry within. Before anything changes in the outer world, it must first shift in the inner realm of belief. That is where all true creation begins, with a quiet, unshakable knowing. Inner certainty is not loud. It does not demand proof or chase evidence. It is calm, settled, and still. It is the subtle yet powerful awareness that what you have imagined is already yours. Even when the senses scream otherwise, even when circumstances contradict it, inner certainty remains unmoved. And that state of unwavering knowing is the cause of all outer change. So many people go through life trying to change the world while remaining unchanged within. They fight against conditions, plead for transformation, or wait for a sign before they believe. But it does not work that way. The mirror cannot show you a smiling reflection if you wear a frown. It cannot show you success if inwardly you feel unworthy. The reflection is faithful. It only reflects what stands before it. But this is why inner certainty is everything. It is the signal to the universe that you are ready, aligned, and already living in the state of your desire fulfilled. When you no longer ask, "Is it coming?" and instead say, "It is already done," you send out a vibration that life cannot ignore. But how do you reach this certainty? You must cultivate it through imagination, repetition, and feeling. You must turn inward and build a relationship with your desired state until it becomes more familiar to you than your doubts. You revisit it each day, not because you are trying to force it to appear, but because you are choosing to live from it now. This is not about blind faith or pretending. It's about stepping into the role of the creator and assuming responsibility for your vibration. You recognize that every outer result you experience is the echo of a former inner state, and that to create something new, you must become someone new within. When doubt arises, you do not panic. You do not chase for reassurance. You simply return to the truth. I have imagined it. I have felt it. It is done. You become still in that knowing. And that stillness is not passive. It is power. In stillness, you align with the deeper rhythm of life that moves all things into place. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are commanding it through your inner state. Certainty does not require control. In fact, it releases control. When you are certain, you don't micromanage. You don't need to see daily signs to stay encouraged. You simply walk in faith, not as someone waiting, but as someone who already knows. You show up differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself with the quiet strength of someone who is already whole. This inner conviction bends reality. It draws in people, events, and opportunities that align with your belief. The world organizes itself around the truth you hold inside, and the stronger that truth becomes, the more naturally and effortlessly it begins to manifest around you. So if you want to change your world, begin by changing the way you feel within. Shift your assumptions. Hold the vision. Cultivate the feeling. And above all, remain still in your knowing. Do not be swayed by appearances or delayed by doubt. Be still, know it is done, and the world will have no choice but to catch up with the certainty that already lives inside you. Everything you've ever desired is already alive in the unseen, waiting for you to claim it. Not with effort, not with struggle, but with feeling. When you assume it's done, when you live from the end, when you no longer beg but rest in certainty, creation becomes effortless. The world bends to your inner state because you are always creating it. Stop asking how and when. Instead, dwell in the feeling that it is already so. Let that feeling become your home. Let that knowing become your reality. Feel it deeply, feel it often, feel it as done, and it must become flesh. Creation begins and ends within. The bridge is feeling, the key is assumption, the power is you. Thank you for listening. If this message stirred something within you, hold it close and return to it whenever doubt tries to speak louder than your faith. Until next time, stay grounded, stay certain, and remember, it is already done. There is no greater truth than this. Your reality is shaped by your consciousness. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, nor are you a victim of fate. What appears before you is but the outpicturing of your inner world, the reflection of your assumptions, beliefs, and feelings. Close your eyes and ask yourself, who would I be if I already had all that I desire? What would I feel, think, and do if I were already living my ideal life? Sink into that feeling. Let it become real to you. For what you accept in your imagination as true will harden into fact. There is no power greater than your awareness of being. The moment you claim your desire as yours, not as something distant, not as something to be earned, but as something already accomplished, you set in motion the unseen forces that bring it to pass. Doubt and fear are illusions born from looking at the world as it is rather than as it can be. But when you stand firm in the conviction that your assumption is reality, the world must conform. You do not need to beg, chase, or struggle. Simply assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that state. Ignore the evidence of the senses when they contradict your vision. Know that the unseen is far more real than the seen. And when you wake each morning, let your first thought be gratitude. Gratitude for the life you are already living in consciousness, knowing it is only a matter of time before it appears in the physical world. The greatest truth you can ever embrace is that your imagination is the key to shaping your reality. Everything you experience in your external world is a direct reflection of what you have persistently imagined and felt to be true within yourself. There is no exception to this law. What you hold in mind with conviction, what you assume as real, will eventually manifest in your world. Most people believe that life is something that happens to them. They see themselves as passive participants, reacting to circumstances as they arise. They assume that change must come from effort, from action, from manipulating external conditions. But the truth is far simpler and far more profound. The world does not create your beliefs. Your beliefs create the world. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting back the contents of your inner consciousness. Think of every great innovation, every work of art, every breakthrough in human history. Where did it begin? In the unseen realm of the imagination, a vision held within the mind of one who dared to believe in something beyond what their senses could confirm. They did not wait for proof. They did not ask whether it was possible. They assumed it to be so, and through this assumption the world bent to their belief. You are no different. Right now you possess the same creative power. If you desire a new reality, you must first claim it in your imagination. You must live in the certainty that it is already done. It is not enough to wish. It is not enough to hope. You must assume. To assume is to take something as true without needing external confirmation. It is to walk as though the wish is fulfilled, to think and feel from the state of your desired outcome. Your imagination is not idle. It is the very force that molds your reality. When you persistently imagine yourself as already possessing the life you desire, you begin to align yourself with it in ways unseen. Your actions shift, your energy changes, and the world rearranges itself to accommodate your new assumption. Perhaps you have noticed this in small ways. You think of someone and suddenly they call. You imagine a certain event and within days it unfolds exactly as you pictured it. These are not coincidences. They are glimpses into the power of your mind. The same principle that brings about these small manifestations is at work in every area of your life. The only difference is the level of conviction you hold. Doubt is the only enemy of creation. The moment you entertain thoughts of lack, failure, or impossibility, you halt the process of manifestation. This is why so many remain stuck, caught between their desires and their fears. They affirm what they want, but in the next breath, they contradict it with worry and disbelief. They plant the seed but dig it up before it has a chance to grow. You must discipline your imagination. You must refuse to dwell in any state that contradicts your wish fulfilled. If you seek abundance, see yourself as abundant now. If you desire love, assume you are already cherished. If you long for success, carry yourself as though it is already yours. Do not wait for the world to change before you believe. Believe, and the world must change. This may feel unnatural. The senses will protest, whispering that nothing has changed. But persist. The unseen is always more real than the seen. Your present circumstances are simply past assumptions solidified into form. If you desire something new, you must persist in a new assumption until it takes root in your reality. This is the law, and it is absolute. Your imagination creates your world. Hold steadfast to your vision, and it must externalize. Assume it is already done, and so it shall be. The secret to manifesting what you desire is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You are not to wish for it, not to hope that one day it will come, but to claim it in consciousness as though it is already yours. The moment you do this, the unseen forces of creation begin to move, and the world will shift to reflect your assumption. This is the great truth that so few understand. Reality is not something you chase after. It is something you embody now. Most people live in a state of waiting. They believe that if they work hard enough, if they prove themselves worthy, then someday they will achieve their goals. They place their desires outside of themselves, always just out of reach. But this way of thinking keeps their dreams forever distant. By placing their wish in the future, they unknowingly affirm its absence in the present. And as long as they continue to see their desire as something that will happen rather than something that is happening now, it remains a possibility rather than a fact. To truly manifest, you must live in the end. This means shifting your identity to match the reality you seek. Instead of longing for wealth, you must think and feel as a wealthy person does. Instead of yearning for love, you must embody the presence of one who is already loved and cherished. It is not enough to merely visualize or affirm. You must step into the feeling of your wish being fulfilled right here and now. Feeling is the secret. If you can generate the emotion, the certainty, the deep knowing that your desire is already yours, then the world must conform to that assumption. Everything you experience is a reflection of your inner state. When you change within, the world must follow. But if you continue to live as though your desire is separate from you, then it will remain separate. Many struggle with this concept because they rely too much on their senses. They look around and see no evidence of change, and so they doubt. But the outer world is always a delayed reflection of the inner world. What you experience now is simply a manifestation of past thoughts and beliefs. If you desire a different reality, you must persist in your new assumption until it hardens into fact. This is not pretending. It is not about fooling yourself or acting as though something is true when you know it is not. It is about knowing that what you assume and persist in must become real. If you can feel it as real in your mind, then it is real. The world has no choice but to align with your inner conviction. Think of how you would behave if your desire were already fulfilled. How would you walk, talk, and carry yourself? How would you feel when you woke up in the morning? What thoughts would fill your mind? This is the state you must assume now. Do not wait for external proof. Become the version of yourself who already has what you seek, and watch as the world reflects it back to you. The moment you fully accept your desires already accomplished, doubt disappears. There is no need to question when or how it will happen. You rest in the assurance that it is done, and you move through life with ease, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. This is the power of living in the end. Circumstances do not matter. They are simply echoes of old assumptions. If you persist in your new state, nothing can stop it from materializing. Your imagination is the only reality, and once you claim your desire within, it must externalize in time. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you will see it manifest in your world. The past is not fixed. It is not a rigid, unchangeable reality that dictates your present and future. It exists only as a collection of memories, mental impressions stored in your consciousness. And because it exists in your mind, you have the power to reshape it. You are not bound by the limitations of what was. At any moment, you can revise your past, and in doing so, alter the course of your life. Most people believe that the past is something they must accept as unchangeable. They think that their failures, their traumas, their disappointments are permanent marks that shape who they are today. But this belief only keeps them trapped in a cycle of limitation. They relive the same struggles, carrying the weight of old wounds because they do not realize that they have the power to rewrite their story. Revision is the act of mentally reconstructing an event to reflect the outcome you wish had occurred. It is not about denying what happened, but about choosing to see it differently. Since your memory of an event is just an impression in your mind, altering that impression changes the way it affects you. And because your inner world shapes your outer reality, this shift in perception begins to transform your present and future experiences. If you replay an old failure in your mind and feel the same disappointment, you are keeping that failure alive in your consciousness. Every time you dwell on the pain, you reinforce it as a part of your identity. But if instead you revise the memory, imagining a different outcome where you succeeded, where you were strong, where things unfolded in your favor, you are planting a new seed in your subconscious. Over time, this new version of events becomes dominant, and your life begins to reflect it. This is not wishful thinking. It is an active, deliberate process of reshaping your assumptions about yourself and your life. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only accepts what you consistently impress upon it. When you revise a memory and persist in feeling the new version is true, your subconscious reprograms itself accordingly. The emotional charge of the old event fades and a new pattern takes its place. If you were once rejected, revise the memory to one where you were embraced and appreciated. If you suffered loss, imagine that the outcome was different, that what you desired remained yours. If you made a mistake, see yourself acting wisely and confidently instead. Feel the relief, the joy, the triumph, as if it had truly happened that way. The more you do this, the more your reality will shift to align with your revised assumption. Perhaps you wonder, how can changing a memory affect my present life? The answer is simple. Your state of being is determined by what you believe to be true. When you alter your past in consciousness, you shift your belief system. And since your outer world is always a reflection of your inner world, your present and future must rearrange themselves to match your new state. Many people have experienced radical changes simply by revising their past. Relationships have healed, financial struggles have turned into abundance, and personal limitations have dissolved, all because they stopped accepting their past as an unchangeable fact and began to rewrite it according to their desires. This is the power of revision. It frees you from the burden of the past and opens the door to new possibilities. It allows you to reclaim your power and shape your life deliberately. There is nothing outside of you that has authority over your destiny. You are the creator, and your imagination is your tool. At any moment, you can look back on your life and decide to see a different version of events. Choose the one that empowers you. Choose the one that aligns with the life you wish to live. Revise persistently and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. Most people believe that success requires effort, that they must struggle, push, and fight to achieve what they want. This belief is so deeply ingrained that they measure progress by how hard they work and how much they suffer. But this way of thinking is an illusion. Struggle does not create, faith does. It is not effort that brings your desires into reality, but the unwavering belief that what you seek is already yours. When you desire something, your natural inclination may be to chase after it, to take excessive action, to force things into place. But this very effort is what keeps your manifestation at a distance. Why? Because effort implies lack. It is rooted in the belief that you do not yet have what you want, that you must earn it or prove yourself worthy of it. And as long as you hold on to this belief, your reality will continue to reflect that state of lack. Faith, on the other hand, requires no struggle. It is the quiet, confident knowing that what you assume to be true must come to pass. It is the absolute trust that your desire already exists in the unseen and is making its way into physical reality. Faith is effortless, and because it is effortless, it allows manifestations to flow freely into your life without resistance. Consider a gardener who plants a seed. He does not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He does not stand over it anxiously, wondering if it will sprout. He simply trusts the process. He waters it, gives it sunlight, and waits, knowing that in due time it will bloom. The same principle applies to your desires. The moment you assume your wish fulfilled, the seed is planted. Your job is not to force it to grow, but to rest in the certainty that it will. The reason so many struggle with manifestation is that they oscillate between faith and doubt. They affirm their desires one moment, but the next they question whether it is really possible. They look to the external world for signs, and if they see nothing, they assume that nothing is happening. But manifestation does not work this way. The outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. If you believe you must struggle, your reality will provide endless obstacles. But if you trust that your assumption is already fact, the world will shape itself accordingly. True faith is unwavering. It does not seek reassurance from circumstances. It does not demand proof. It does not wonder when or how things will happen. It simply knows. And when you reach this state of inner certainty, manifestations come effortlessly. You no longer feel the need to force results because you already dwell in the feeling of having received them. Many who struggle with faith believe they must do something extra to make their desires come true. But doing is secondary. Being is primary. It is not about taking endless action, but about embodying the state of already having. When you become the person who has what you desire, when you think, feel, and act as though it is already done, you naturally align with the reality in which it exists. From this state, inspired action arises effortlessly. Faith does not mean inaction. It means aligned action. It means acting from the knowing that your desire is a certainty, not from the fear that it may never happen. When you move with faith, every step feels natural, easy, and joyful. There is no desperation, no forcing, only a calm assurance that all is unfolding perfectly. This is why those who manifest easily are not the ones who strive the hardest, but the ones who believe the deepest. They do not let their senses deceive them. They do not question whether their manifestation is coming. They assume it is done, and because they do, it becomes their reality. The moment you release effort and replace it with faith, everything changes. The struggle ends and the flow begins. Your only task is to assume, believe, and rest in the certainty that it is already yours. Let go of force, release the need to control, and trust that what you have claimed in consciousness must manifest in form. It is already done. The world you see around you is nothing more than a mirror reflecting your inner state. It is not separate from you, nor is it something you must fight against. Your reality is shaped by the assumptions, beliefs, and feelings you hold within. If you do not like what you see in the outer world, the answer is not to struggle with it, but to change the inner world from which it arises. Most people make the mistake of reacting to their current circumstances as if they are permanent and unchangeable. They allow what they see to dictate what they believe is possible. If they experience lack, they assume that abundance is out of reach. If they are lonely, They accept isolation as their fate. If their desires seem far away, they believe that distance is real. But all of this is an illusion. The outer world is nothing more than a projection of what you have impressed upon your subconscious mind. Your reality does not exist independently of you. It is shaped and molded by your inner state. If you continue to focus on what is, you will only create more of the same. But if you shift your focus to what you desire and persist in that assumption regardless of appearances, your world must eventually conform. To ignore the outer world does not mean to pretend it does not exist. It means refusing to let it control your inner state. It means understanding that circumstances are not fixed, that they are merely the reflection of past assumptions, and that they will change the moment you assume something new. If you are in debt and wish to experience financial abundance, you must not dwell on your current lack. You must not let the numbers in your bank account shake your faith. Instead, you must persist in the feeling of already being prosperous. You must see yourself as someone who already possesses wealth, and you must hold on to that assumption, even when the world shows you the opposite. If you are longing for love, you must not focus on loneliness. You must not seek validation from the outer world before believing you are loved. Instead, you must dwell in the state of already being cherished and adored. You must assume that love is yours and persist in that assumption until the world reshapes itself to reflect it. This is the key: persistence in the unseen. The moment you assume your desire is already yours, it is done. But if you allow external circumstances to make you doubt, you push your manifestation away. The world will always reflect what you most consistently believe to be true. The great mistake is to wait for external confirmation before believing. Those who understand the nature of reality do not seek proof in the world around them. They create proof by first believing. They do not let what is dictate what will be. They assume what they desire, and they persist in that assumption until it becomes their experience. Many people give up too soon. They assume their desire for a brief moment, but when they do not see instant results, they return to doubt. They allow the outer world to convince them that their assumption was false. But this is like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to check if it is growing. The process takes time. Reality must rearrange itself. And if you persist, it will. There is no power outside of you. Nothing in the world has the ability to stop your manifestation except your own doubt. The only thing you must do is remain faithful to the unseen. Live in the certainty that what you have assumed is already true. Ignore the contradictions of the physical world, knowing they are temporary shadows of past thoughts. Hold firm to your vision and do not waver. Refuse to be influenced by appearances. Stay centered in the belief that what you have claimed in consciousness is already yours, and in time, the world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. Your entire experience of life is determined by one thing: your consciousness. It is not luck, fate, or external circumstances that shape your reality. It is the way you see yourself. Who you believe yourself to be is the foundation upon which everything in your world is built. If you desire change, you must start within. Most people attempt to change their lives by focusing on external conditions. They seek new jobs, new relationships, or more money, believing that these things will bring them happiness. But no lasting change can come from rearranging the outer world while remaining the same internally. The world is only a mirror. It does not create, it only reflects. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will continue to experience lack. If you see yourself as powerless, you will always feel at the mercy of circumstances. But the moment you shift your self-concept, your reality must shift with you. Your self-concept is the collection of beliefs you hold about yourself. It determines what you expect, what you accept, and what you experience. If you believe yourself to be confident, opportunities will naturally come to you. If you believe yourself to be successful, success will follow. If you believe yourself to be loved, love will manifest in your life effortlessly. It is not the world that must change first, it is you. Consider the person who constantly struggles with money. No matter how hard they work or how many opportunities come their way, they always find themselves in financial distress. It is not because they lack ability or intelligence, it is because they see themselves as someone who struggles. Their subconscious mind, accepting this self-image as truth, ensures that their reality reflects it. Even if they receive a large sum of money, they will soon find a way to lose it, because their inner concept of self does not match the state of abundance. Imagine that same person decides to change their self-concept. Instead of seeing themselves as someone who struggles, they assume the identity of someone who is financially free. They dwell in the feeling of abundance, making it their natural state. Over time, this shift in self-perception changes the way they think, act, and respond to the world. They begin to attract opportunities effortlessly. They manage money wisely. They make decisions that align with wealth. And as a result, their outer world transforms to match their new inner state. This principle applies to every area of life. If you struggle with relationships, it is not because love is unavailable to you, it is because your self-concept does not align with being loved. If you see yourself as unworthy or undesirable, the world will reflect that back to you. But the moment you assume the identity of someone who is deeply loved and cherished, reality will rearrange itself to confirm that assumption. Many believe that change is difficult, that it takes years of hard work. But transformation is instant the moment you accept a new self-concept. The only reason change appears slow is because people waver between their old identity and their new one. They affirm new beliefs but then fall back into their previous assumptions. The key is persistence. You must consistently dwell in the feeling of your desired self, refusing to accept any reality that contradicts it. The world cannot help but conform to your self-concept. It is a law as certain as gravity. Who you believe yourself to be determines what you experience. Change your concept of self and everything around you will shift accordingly. You do not need to force things to happen. You do not need to struggle. Simply assume the state of the person you wish to be, persist in that assumption, and allow reality to reflect it back to you. Your consciousness is the key. Use it wisely. Your reality is not shaped by chance, nor is it dictated by forces outside of you. Everything you experience is a direct reflection of your inner world, your assumptions, your beliefs, and your state of being. The key to manifesting your dream life lies in understanding and applying these principles with unwavering faith. Imagination creates reality, so dwell in the vision of what you desire as if it were already true. Live in the end assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, rather than waiting for the world to show you proof. The past holds no power over you unless you choose to keep it alive. Revise your memories and your present and future will shift accordingly. Let go of struggle, for faith is stronger than effort. Trust that what you have assumed is already unfolding. Ignore the outer world when it contradicts your vision, and persist in the unseen. And above all, recognize that your consciousness is the key. Who you believe yourself to be determines what you will experience. There is nothing to chase, nothing to force, nothing to fear. Align with the reality you desire, and it must unfold effortlessly. You are always creating, so create deliberately, create with confidence, and create with the certainty that your dream life is already yours. Thank you. My friends, you are not separate from the power that governs the universe. You are the very essence of creation, and the moment you ask, the answer is already forming. But let me tell you, asking is not mere words spoken into the air. It is an inner conviction, a shift in your state of being. When you desire something, it is not a mere wish. It is a whisper from the universe itself, calling you to claim what is already yours. The moment you recognize this, you will stop begging and start expecting. You must see yourself already in possession of what you seek. Not tomorrow, not in the distant future, but now. Close your eyes and instead of longing for it, become the person who already has it. How do you feel? How do you act? How do you think? The moment you align with this reality, the universe must conform. But here is where many falter. They ask with hope rather than certainty. Hope suggests possibility, but certainty commands reality. If you plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check if it's growing, you ruin the process. You must ask, then rest in the knowing that it is done. The world you experience is a mirror of your inner state. You cannot look at the world and react to it. You must create from within. What you assume to be true in consciousness will harden into fact. If you wish for abundance, do not ask for it as if you lack it. Feel abundant now. If you desire love, do not chase it. Embody love and it will come effortlessly. The secret is simple. You must live in the end. The universe is always listening, always responding, but it does not respond to desperation, it responds to faith. Act as if you already have it, walk as if it is already yours, and soon the world will reflect your inner knowing. Your inner world is the blueprint of your external reality. Every thought you hold, every belief you entertain, and every assumption you accept as true is shaping the life you live. The universe does not give you what you merely wish for. It gives you what you assume to be true. Your assumptions are the silent architects of your destiny, constantly at work, molding the world around you into a reflection of your inner convictions. Consider for a moment the things you believe about yourself and your life. Are they empowering, filled with certainty and abundance, or are they colored with doubt and limitation? The truth is, you cannot experience anything in your outer world that you have not first accepted within. If you assume that success is difficult, that wealth is reserved for a select few, or that love is elusive, then your world will confirm these beliefs, not because they are absolute truths, but because you have claimed them as such. The mind is the soil in which seeds of assumption are planted. Whatever you consistently assume to be true takes root, grows, and eventually manifests as experience. If you assume that you are always overlooked, that assumption will shape your interactions, your energy, and even the way people perceive you. You will unknowingly act in ways that reinforce this belief, and the world will respond accordingly. Conversely, if you assume that you are valued, respected, and magnetic, your reality will begin to shift to match that state. Many believe they must first see proof in order to believe something is possible, but this is the opposite of how creation works. The outer world is not the cause, it is the effect. Your assumptions precede the evidence, not the other way around. You do not wait for circumstances to confirm your beliefs, you impose your beliefs onto reality. This is why two people can experience the same situation yet perceive it entirely differently. One assumes life is working for them, and so it does. The other assumes they are constantly facing obstacles, and so they do. The power of assumption is most evident in those who succeed effortlessly. They do not force success. They simply assume it is inevitable. They carry themselves with the quiet confidence of someone who already knows the outcome. There is no hesitation, no second guessing, just an unwavering certainty that life must conform to their expectations. And it does. So how do you begin to shift your assumptions? First, become aware of what you are unconsciously assuming to be true about yourself, your relationships, your finances, and your health. Are your assumptions empowering or limiting? Are they based on fear or faith? Once you identify the beliefs that no longer serve you, replace them with new assumptions that align with the reality you desire. This is not a mere mental exercise, it requires deep inner conviction. You must saturate your mind with the feeling of already being the person you wish to become. If you want to be prosperous, assume the state of prosperity now. Feel the relief, the security, the ease that comes with it. If you desire love, assume you are already loved and cherished. Carry yourself as if it is already done. and soon your world will shift to match your inner state. Doubt is the only thing that can delay the process. The moment you assume something new, your old reality may try to convince you otherwise. Circumstances may appear unchanged, but this is merely an illusion. If you hold firm to your new assumption, the world must eventually conform. But if you waver, questioning whether it is working, you disrupt the process. Faith is knowing that your assumption, once made, is as good as fact. You do not need to struggle or chase after results. You simply assume, trust, and persist. The universe is a faithful servant to your assumptions, reflecting back to you exactly what you accept as true. Change your assumptions, and you change your world. Your desires are not meaningless wishes or fleeting thoughts. They are divine whispers, guiding you toward what is already yours in the unseen. Every longing you feel, every vision that stirs something deep within you is not an accident. It is a glimpse of a reality that already exists for you. The moment a desire arises, it is proof that what you seek is seeking you. The universe does not tease, it does not place dreams in your heart without the means for their fulfillment. Most people misunderstand desire. They see it as something distant, something they must struggle for or prove themselves worthy of before they can attain it. But the truth is, your desires are not outside of you, they are part of you. They are not asking you to chase them, they are asking you to claim them. The moment you recognize this, you stop feeling separate from what you want. Instead of longing, you move into knowing. Instead of striving, you shift into receiving. The universe operates on a simple law. What you accept as real must become real. When a desire arises, it is not just an empty hope. It is an invitation. It is the universe saying, here is what is possible for you. Will you accept it? The problem is, most people reject this invitation. They let doubt, fear, or feelings of unworthiness block the path. They convince themselves that what they want is too difficult, too far away, or meant for someone else. And in doing so, they turn away from the very thing that was meant for them. But when you embrace your desires, when you see them as divine guidance rather than impossible dreams, everything changes. The moment you say yes to your desire, not with mere words, but with the deep inner knowing that it is already yours, the universe begins to move. Circumstances shift, opportunities arise, and what once seemed impossible starts to unfold effortlessly. It is not your job to figure out how it will happen. The how is never your concern. The same power that gave you the desire will orchestrate the means for its fulfillment. Your only responsibility is to accept it as done, to hold the vision, to assume the feeling of already having it, to align yourself with the reality in which your desire is a fact. Many people ask and then immediately undo their own requests. They let impatience creep in. They look at their current reality and declare that nothing is changing. But this is where faith is required. The universe works in ways unseen before it manifests in the physical. Just because you do not see the movement does not mean it is not happening. Just because the evidence has not yet appeared does not mean the process is not underway. Think of it like planting a seed. The moment you place the seed in the soil, the process of growth has begun. But if you dig it up every day to check if it is growing, you interfere with the natural order. Desire works the same way. Once you ask, trust that it is already growing beneath the surface. Do not disrupt the process with doubt or desperation. Nurture your desire with belief. Speak as if it is already yours. Walk as if it has already been given. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the certainty that comes with knowing you have received. This is the key to unlocking your desires effortlessly. The universe does not respond to pleading, it responds to conviction. It mirrors back to you the state you dwell in. If you dwell in lack, you experience lack. If you dwell in abundance, you experience abundance. So when you ask, do not ask from a place of need. Ask from a place of knowing. Ask as if it is already done. Your desires are divine. They are not random. They are not unreachable. They are waiting for you to step into the version of yourself that is already living them. When you do, the universe will move heaven and earth to bring them into form. When you ask, the universe does not listen to your words alone. It listens to the energy behind them. It responds to your state of being, to the feeling you hold as you make your request. The great secret is that creation is not about hoping, wishing, or begging. It is about assuming. It is about stepping into the feeling of already having what you desire, embodying it so completely that it becomes undeniable. Most people ask from a place of lack. They focus on what is missing, on what they do not have, and their request is laced with doubt and longing. But longing only affirms separation. When you desire something and feel as though you do not have it, you are reinforcing its absence. The more you focus on what is missing, the more the universe mirrors that state back to you. But when you assume the feeling of already having what you seek, everything changes. You no longer ask as someone who is lacking, you ask as someone who already possesses. You do not pray from desperation, you give thanks in certainty. You do not wait for external proof, you embody the proof within. And because the universe reflects your inner world, it must bring forth the reality that matches your state. When you truly believe something is yours, how do you feel? There is no anxiety, no restlessness, no questioning. There is only peace. There is only the quiet confidence of knowing. This is the state you must dwell in. If you desire love, do not ask for it with a heart that feels lonely. Assume the warmth, the security, the deep fulfillment of already being loved. If you desire wealth, do not plead for it while feeling poor. Step into the feeling of abundance, of ease, of having more than enough. This is not about pretending. It is not about forcing yourself to believe something while secretly feeling the opposite. It is about shifting your state so completely that the new reality becomes natural to you. You do not need to see it first, you need to feel it first. When you do, the external world will rearrange itself to match your inner assumption. Doubt is the only thing that can disrupt this process. Many people try to assume the feeling of fulfillment, but then they check their current reality and see nothing has changed. They let impatience creep in. They question whether it is working. But faith is knowing that once you assume the state, it is already done. The outer world is simply catching up. Imagine placing an order at a restaurant. You do not worry about whether the food will arrive. You place the order and you wait with expectation. You trust that what you have asked for is being prepared even before you see it. This is the same way you must ask the universe. Once you assume the state, you must carry yourself as though your desire is already being delivered. Gratitude is a powerful tool in this process. When you give thanks not for what you hope will come, but for what you know is already yours, you shift your energy instantly. Gratitude affirms possession. It declares that what you have asked for is already received. It removes doubt and replaces it with certainty. So when you ask, do not ask as someone who is waiting. Ask as someone who already has. Feel the reality of your desire fulfilled. Rest in the assurance that the universe has already responded. The moment you shift your inner world, the outer world must follow. This is law. Doubt is the only thing that stands between you and the life you desire. It is the force that disrupts your manifestations, delays your blessings, and keeps you in a cycle of uncertainty. The moment you entertain doubt, you begin to unravel the very thing you have set in motion. You question whether your desire is possible, whether the universe has heard you, and whether you are worthy of receiving it. And in doing so, you weaken your faith, casting shadows over what was meant to be a certainty. But the truth is, the moment you ask, it is already granted. There is no question, no hesitation, no negotiation. What you desire is already set into motion. Your only task is to align with it, to trust the process without second-guessing it. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that beneath the soil, Unseen forces are at work. You water it, you nurture it, but you do not interfere with the process. You know that in time it must break through the surface. This is how manifestation works. The moment you declare something as yours, the unseen begins to shift. Circumstances rearrange, opportunities align, and paths unfold in ways you cannot yet see. But if you allow doubt to enter, you disrupt this process. You uproot the seed before it has time to grow. You delay what was already in motion. Many people do this unknowingly. They ask for something, then immediately check their surroundings for proof. They look at their current reality and declare that nothing has changed. They let fear creep in. They question whether it is really working. But faith does not seek evidence, it creates it. Faith does not wait for proof, it is the proof. You must hold your belief unwaveringly. You must trust so completely that there is no room for hesitation. You must move through life as though your desire is already fulfilled, as though you are merely waiting for reality to catch up. This is the secret that separates those who manifest with ease from those who struggle. The ones who receive are the ones who trust, without needing reassurance, without needing to control the how or when. There is great power in silence. The moment doubt tries to creep in, silence it. Do not speak words of uncertainty. Do not entertain thoughts of failure. Do not allow external circumstances to dictate your inner state. Speak only of what you desire as if it is already done. Think only in terms of fulfillment. Feel only the certainty of already having received. The universe does not respond to weak intentions. It does not respond to half-hearted belief. It mirrors back to you the strength of your conviction. If you believe fully, without question, the universe has no choice but to align with that belief. But if you waver, if you doubt, if you allow fear to take hold, you send mixed signals, and mixed signals create delays. This is why so many people feel stuck. They are caught between belief and doubt, between trust and fear. They take one step forward in faith, then two steps back in uncertainty. But when you decide, truly decide, that what you desire is already yours, everything shifts. So, silence the doubt, trust the process, walk in faith, not by sight. Know that just because you do not see the movement yet does not mean it is not happening. It is happening. It is unfolding. Your only task is to hold the belief unwaveringly. Live as if your request is already granted, because in truth, it is. The greatest secret to manifestation lies in living in the end. To see yourself already in possession of what you desire, to think from the state of fulfillment rather than longing for it, is the key to bringing your dreams into reality. Most people ask for what they want while still identifying with the version of themselves who does not have it. They pray for wealth while feeling poor. They seek love while believing they are unworthy. They hope for success while fearing failure. But as long as you continue to see yourself as separate from your desire, you will remain in that separation. To live in the end means to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It means to act, think, and feel as though your desire has already materialized. It is not about forcing external actions, but rather shifting your inner state so completely that the external world has no choice but to conform. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to certainty. When you embody the version of yourself who already has what you desire, the world rearranges itself to match that reality. Imagine you have already received what you want. How would you think? How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? If you were already successful, would you still worry about failure? If you were already in love, would you still feel lonely? If you were already wealthy, would you still stress about money? The answer is no. Your energy would be different, your actions would be different, and this is the shift that must take place within you. Many believe they must wait for external proof before they can feel certain, but this is a mistake. The outer world is merely a reflection of the inner world. If you wait for proof before believing, you will remain in a state of waiting indefinitely. But if you choose to believe first, if you step into the feeling of already having, you activate the forces that bring your desire into form. Living in the end is not about pretending. It is not about acting as though something is true while secretly believing it is not. It is about fully immersing yourself in the reality of your desire. It is about making that state your dwelling place, so natural to you that it no longer feels like something you are trying to manifest. It feels like something that already is. Doubt has no place in this process. The moment you waver, the moment you question whether it is working, you step out of alignment with your desire. Faith is not about hoping, it is about knowing. It is about trusting so deeply that you no longer concern yourself with when or how your desire will come to you. You rest in the certainty that it is already done, that the unseen forces are moving on your behalf. If you desire a new reality, you must become the person who already lives it. Your self-concept must shift. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who is waiting, see yourself as someone who has arrived. Instead of chasing your desire, become the version of you who already possesses it. The shift is internal, and once it is made, the external world must comply. This is the law. This is how reality bends to your assumption. The moment you live in the end, the moment you claim it as your truth, it must come to pass. The world is only reflecting you. So decide who you are. Decide what is already yours. And then, without hesitation, live in that knowing. The universe has no choice but to respond accordingly. Gratitude is not merely a polite response to receiving. It is a powerful force that accelerates manifestation. Most people wait until their desires materialize before they express gratitude, but this is a mistake. True gratitude is not a reaction. It is a state of being. It is the act of feeling thankful before the physical evidence appears, of embodying the energy of already having. When you feel gratitude as if you have already received, you confirm to the universe that your manifestation is real, and by doing so, you draw it closer with incredible speed. Gratitude is the language of completion. It signals that you recognize your desire is already yours, even if the world has not yet reflected it back to you. When you give thanks in advance, you solidify your belief, making it unwavering. You eliminate doubt because you would not be grateful for something you did not truly believe was coming. In this way, gratitude is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the glue that holds your manifestation together, ensuring that it moves swiftly from imagination to reality. Think about the energy of someone who is thankful. They are calm, confident, and at peace. They are not anxiously waiting, nor are they pleading or begging for their desires to arrive. Instead, they live in a state of certainty. This certainty aligns them with their desire, magnetizing it toward them. The universe mirrors this certainty, responding with experiences that match the energy they are radiating. Contrast this with someone who is impatient, doubtful, or fearful. They may say they believe their manifestation is coming, but if they feel anxious or desperate, they are unknowingly affirming its absence. Their energy says, "I do not have it yet." And so the universe continues to reflect that state of not having. This is why gratitude must be felt before the physical manifestation appears. It is a declaration of faith, a knowing that what you seek is already yours. To practice this, begin by imagining how you would feel if your desire had already come to pass. Picture yourself living in the reality you have created. What emotions rise within you? Relief, joy, excitement? Tap into those emotions and express deep, heartfelt gratitude for them now. Say, "Thank you for this abundance. Thank you for this love. Thank you for this success." Speak as if it is already done, as if you are merely acknowledging what has already been given. This practice shifts your entire state of being. Instead of waiting for something to happen, you move into alignment with the version of you who has already received. The more you embody this feeling, the faster your manifestation unfolds. It is not the words of gratitude that create the shift, but the feeling behind them. Words spoken without emotion are empty. Gratitude must be felt deeply. Many do not realize that gratitude also dissolves resistance. When you are truly thankful, there is no space for fear, doubt, or frustration. Gratitude keeps you in the present moment, free from the anxiety of wondering when or how your desire will come. It allows you to relax, to trust the process, and to let go of any attachment to the outcome. This state of trust is essential, for desperation repels, while certainty attracts. Everything in life responds to gratitude. The more you appreciate, the more you receive to appreciate. When you live in a state of thankfulness, you naturally attract more things to be thankful for. This is the simple yet profound truth of the universe. Like attracts like. Gratitude is not just an act. It is a vibration, a signal that tells the universe you are already fulfilled. So do not wait until your desire appears to express gratitude. Feel it now. Let it flood your heart. Let it fill your mind. Let it be your constant state. Because when you live in gratitude, you live in the end. And when you live in the end, manifestation is inevitable. Everything you desire is already within reach. The universe is not withholding anything from you. It is simply responding to the state you embody. When you assume your wish is already fulfilled, when you trust without doubt, when you live in the end with unwavering certainty, you align yourself with the reality you seek. Your assumption is the key, your desire is divine, and your belief seals the manifestation. The universe mirrors your inner world, and the moment you shift internally, the external world must follow. Feel gratitude now, not as a reaction, but as a way of being. Speak and think from a place of fulfillment, not lack. Release all hesitation and trust the process fully. What you seek is already seeking you. The only thing required is your alignment with it. Stop waiting, stop doubting, and step into the reality of your creation. Thank you for allowing these words to remind you of your power. Trust in yourself, trust in the unseen forces working on your behalf, and watch as your desires unfold effortlessly. Everything is already yours. All you must do is claim it. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen closely, not just with your ears, but with your entire being. For what I am about to tell you has the power to transform your life forever. 3 words. That is all it takes to shift your reality, to move mountains unseen, to bend the very fabric of your world to your will. But these words are not to be spoken with hesitation, nor with mere hope. They must be declared with unwavering certainty, with a heart that already knows it is done. When you speak from conviction, the universe bends to your will. The words you utter are not empty sounds. They are vibrations, commands sent forth into the infinite, shaping the formless into form. This is the great secret. Whatever you declare with full belief becomes the law upon which your world is built. These 3 words hold immeasurable power. They are not a request nor a plea. They are a finality, a seal upon your desire. When you say it is done, you do not look for signs. You do not question when or how. You simply know. And in that knowing, the unseen forces begin their work. Think of the greatest manifestations in your life, those moments when things appeared effortlessly, when what you once longed for simply showed up. Look back, and you will see a pattern. In the moment you let go, in the moment you knew it was already yours, it came. This is the secret of creation. You do not chase, you do not beg. You declare, you assume. You step into the feeling of already having it. And then, as surely as the sun rises, it must appear. Doubt is the only enemy. The moment you say it is done and then wonder, but when, but how, you undo the very power you set in motion. But if you stand firm, if you walk as though the unseen is more real than the seen, then the world has no choice but to yield to your assumption. So, tonight, before you sleep, close your eyes and declare with absolute certainty, it is done. Feel the reality of your desire as though it has already come to pass. And when you wake, carry yourself as the one who already has it. There is a truth so profound, so absolute, that it has been whispered throughout the ages by sages, mystics, and those who have unlocked the secrets of reality. It is the understanding that words are not merely sounds. They are forces that shape existence itself. The words you speak, whether aloud or in the silence of your mind, are the very substance from which your reality is formed. Every word carries a vibration, an energy that extends beyond the physical realm. To speak is to create, for your words are the bridge between the unseen and the seen. They are not idle expressions, they are commands sent forth into the vast, infinite field of possibility, where all things exist in potential, waiting to take form. Consider for a moment the nature of your own experiences. Look around at the circumstances of your life, at the relationships you have built, the success you have attained, or the struggles you continue to endure. If you were to trace these experiences back to their origins, you would find that they are directly tied to the words you have consistently spoken, whether in thought or aloud. The person who declares, "Nothing ever works out for me," will find themselves trapped in an endless cycle of disappointments. The one who believes, "I am always struggling," will encounter obstacles at every turn. These words, spoken with conviction, act as an instruction to the unseen forces that govern reality, ensuring that what is declared must come to pass. But just as words can limit, they also have the power to liberate. The one who affirms, "I am worthy of love and abundance," will begin to see life reorganize itself to reflect this new belief. The one who says, "Everything I desire flows to me effortlessly," will notice doors opening in ways they never imagined. This is not a matter of wishful thinking or empty affirmations. Words alone are not enough unless they are spoken with belief, with a deep knowing that they are shaping what is to come. A mere repetition of phrases will not shift reality unless those words are felt as truth. It is the emotion, the unwavering certainty behind them that gives them life. To truly harness this power, one must become deliberate in speech, both internal and external. The casual complaints, the habitual self-doubt, the unconscious repetition of limitations, all of these must be replaced with declarations of possibility, of certainty, of already having received that which is desired. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of marble. Every strike of the chisel, every precise movement, shapes the vision they hold in their mind. In the same way, your words carve out the reality you experience. Each sentence, each thought, each expression is another stroke that molds your world into form. There is no neutrality in speech. Every word either moves you closer to your desired life or further away from it. To speak negatively is to reinforce the very conditions you wish to escape. But to speak in alignment with the reality you desire is to call it forth, to summon it from the unseen into the tangible. This is why it is said, "Let the weak say, I am strong," not because they are denying their current condition, but because by declaring strength, they set into motion the forces that will make it so. They do not wait for external evidence to change before they speak the truth of what they desire. They speak it first, knowing that the world will rearrange itself to match their declaration. What will you choose to speak into existence? Will you continue to affirm limitations, or will you begin to declare the reality you truly wish to experience? The choice is always yours. But know this, every word you utter is a seed planted, and every seed must bear fruit. Choose your words with the same care you would choose the foundation of a great structure, for upon them your entire reality is built. The world you see before you is not separate from you. It is not something happening to you, nor is it an external force beyond your control. It is in every sense a reflection of your own consciousness. What you hold within, the thoughts you dwell upon, the beliefs you accept as true, shapes the very reality you experience. The unseen patterns of your mind give birth to the visible world around you. Consciousness is the foundation of all creation. Everything that exists first began as an idea, a thought, an unseen impression upon the mind. Before a great structure is built, it is conceived in the mind of the architect. Before an invention is brought into existence, it is imagined by the Creator. Before success, love, or abundance manifests in a person's life, it is first accepted in their inner world as real. There is no escaping this truth. Whether one is aware of it or not, they are constantly creating. The repetition of thought, the emotions tied to those thoughts, and the deep beliefs formed over time act as the blueprint for one's reality. That which is impressed upon the subconscious mind with feeling and certainty will inevitably externalize itself in the world of form. Look at your own life and consider this principle in action. The circumstances you face, the events that unfold, the relationships you attract, each of these is the outpicturing of the state of consciousness you have persistently occupied. A person who habitually dwells on lack and struggle will find that life mirrors these beliefs, bringing forth experiences that affirm their inner assumptions. Conversely, one who consistently impresses upon their mind the feeling of abundance, success, and fulfillment will see these conditions materialize in ways that seem effortless. This is not coincidence, nor is it random, it is law. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking or fleeting desires. It responds to the deep convictions you hold as truth. If you wish to change your life, you must begin by changing what you impress upon your consciousness. Repetition is the key. A single thought held briefly may pass without effect, but a thought repeated with feeling day after day embeds itself into the subconscious. And once something is impressed upon the subconscious mind, it moves into action, influencing behavior, perception, and ultimately experience. This is why those who assume failure find themselves failing, while those who assume success seem to attract opportunities with ease. To harness this power, one must become the master of their inner world. It is not enough to wish for a better life. One must assume the state of already having it. This means thinking, speaking, and feeling as though the desired reality is already true, not in the future, not someday, but now. The subconscious does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts what is consistently fed to it. If you desire abundance, dwell upon abundance. If you seek love, impress upon your mind the feeling of being deeply loved. If you wish for success, assume the identity of one who is already successful. Let your inner dialogue reflect this truth. Let your emotions align with it, and let your actions follow naturally from this assumption. Doubt and fear are the only barriers to manifestation. The moment you waver, questioning whether your thoughts truly have power, you disrupt the process. But when you remain firm, unwavering in your conviction, the external world must conform. It has no choice, for reality is only the echo of the state of mind you consistently occupy. Everything begins within. Change your consciousness and you will change your world. It is not a question of if, it is a certainty. What you impress upon your mind through repetition and deep belief must externalize itself. This is the nature of reality, and it is the key to transformation. There is a power within you so vast, so absolute, that when properly understood and applied, it can transform your entire life. This power is the law of assumption. It is not wishful thinking, nor is it mere positive affirmations. It is the unshakable knowing that what you assume to be true will harden into fact. Reality does not unfold based on chance, effort, or external circumstances. It conforms to your assumptions, your deep, unquestioned beliefs about yourself and the world. To assume is to take something as real, to accept it without question. And when you assume something with conviction, without doubt, and with full emotional acceptance, it must become your experience. The world around you is simply a mirror reflecting your internal state. Every event, every encounter, and every circumstance is a response to the assumptions you hold. Look at your own life and you will see this truth in action. The person who believes they are always overlooked will find themselves ignored in conversations, passed over for opportunities, and forgotten by those they seek attention from. Not because the world is cruel, but because they have assumed invisibility. They have taken on the identity of someone who is ignored, and the world must reflect it back to them. On the other hand, the one who assumes they are loved, successful, and deserving of abundance walks through life with an air of confidence, and the world bends to match this inner state. They do not chase opportunities, opportunities seek them. They do not struggle to be noticed. Their presence is naturally acknowledged, not because they are lucky, but because they have assumed the state of already having what they desire. Most people live as though they are at the mercy of circumstances, reacting to life as it unfolds. They assume lack, struggle, and limitation without realizing they are the cause of their own conditions. But the truth is, you are never experiencing reality itself. You are experiencing your assumptions about reality. If you wish to change your life, you must first change your assumptions. This requires living from the end, occupying the state of the wish fulfilled. It means seeing yourself as already possessing the very thing you desire, not hoping for it, not waiting for it, but knowing it is yours. You must assume the feeling of already having it, allowing that feeling to dominate your consciousness. If you desire wealth, assume the consciousness of wealth. See yourself as already abundant, already living the life of financial freedom. Feel the ease and security that come with it. If you desire love, assume that you are already loved, that you are cherished, valued, and deeply appreciated. Feel it as real, and the world will have no choice but to mirror this assumption back to you. Doubt is the only thing that can delay or disrupt this process. The moment you allow fear, hesitation, or conflicting beliefs to take hold, you begin to shift back into your previous state. And so, persistence is key. Do not waver. Do not look to external circumstances for validation. The world is only an echo of what you have already assumed to be true. Change the cause, your inner world, and the effect, your external world, must follow. You do not need to force or manipulate reality. You do not need to struggle or beg for what you desire. The only work required is the inner work of assuming the feeling of already having it. When you fully accept this, the bridge of incidents will unfold naturally. The right people, the right circumstances, and the right opportunities will appear effortlessly because reality is bound by law. It must reflect your assumption. Dare to assume greatness. Dare to assume abundance, love, success, and joy. Walk in the knowing that it is already yours, and reality will bow to your assumption. This is not theory, it is law. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and you will see the evidence of it manifest before your very eyes. Words alone carry no power unless they are felt. It is not enough to merely declare what you desire. You must embody it, feel it as real, and live from that feeling now. Emotion is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. What you feel deeply with conviction is what impresses upon your subconscious mind and shapes the reality you experience. The world you see is not separate from you. It is a reflection of the state you dwell in. Every person, every event, every opportunity that enters your life is a response to the emotions and beliefs you consistently hold. If you wish to transform your life, you must learn to feel the fulfillment of your desires now, before any physical evidence appears. The outer world does not create your inner state. Rather, your inner state molds and shapes the outer world. When you are overcome with joy, the world appears brighter. Even mundane tasks seem effortless, and people respond to you with warmth and positivity. But when you are filled with fear or doubt, the world appears hostile. Every situation feels like a struggle, and even small inconveniences seem overwhelming. The difference is not in the world itself, but in the emotional state you carry within. If emotions have the power to shape your moment-to-moment experience, imagine their effect when sustained over time. The person who constantly feels unworthy will find life reflecting that belief back to them. They will attract circumstances that confirm their feelings of lack, reinforcing their assumption that they are not good enough. But the one who feels deserving, who lives in the state of already having what they desire, will move through life with confidence, and the world must conform to that inner certainty. To manifest anything, you must first accept it emotionally. This is the true key. You do not wait for external proof to feel successful. You assume the feeling of success now. You do not wait for love to come before feeling loved. You generate the feeling of being cherished in the present moment. When you persist in these feelings, reality has no choice but to bring you experiences that match. Many fail because they attempt to affirm new beliefs while still feeling the lack of them. They say the words but do not allow themselves to feel the truth behind them. They affirm wealth but feel poor. They speak of love but feel lonely, and so their reality does not change because the subconscious does not respond to empty words. It responds to feelings. This is why imagination is such a powerful tool. If you can close your eyes and fully immerse yourself in the experience of having your desire, feeling it as if it were real, your subconscious mind will accept it as truth. The more real it feels, the more quickly it must externalize. When you practice this consistently, the world will shift to reflect your new state. This may feel unnatural, but with repetition, it becomes effortless. Just as a musician must practice until their instrument becomes an extension of them, you must practice dwelling in the feeling of your wish fulfilled until it becomes your natural state. Every time doubt arises, return to the feeling. Every time fear creeps in, remind yourself that what you feel deeply must manifest. You are never waiting for your desire, it is waiting for you to claim it. You do not need to chase or struggle. You simply need to embody the feeling of already having it. The moment you feel it real, without contradiction, the unseen forces of reality move to bring it into form. Feel the fulfillment now. Let the joy, the peace, and the certainty of your desired reality flood your being. When you do this, manifestation is not a question of if, it is a certainty. What you feel deeply and persistently is what you will inevitably experience in your world. The greatest illusion of this world is the belief that what is seen is more real than what is unseen. Yet everything you experience with your physical senses is merely the effect, not the cause. The true reality lies within you, in the thoughts you entertain, the emotions you cultivate, and the assumptions you hold. The unseen world, your imagination, your beliefs, your inner dialogue, is the source from which all physical manifestations arise. Look around at everything in your life right now. Your relationships, your finances, your circumstances. These are not random occurrences. They are reflections of your inner world, the outpicturing of the thoughts and assumptions you have consistently held, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you wish to change anything in your life, you must first change the unseen, the state of mind you dwell in day after day. Many believe they must fight against circumstances, work harder, or struggle to shift their reality, but effort alone, without an inner shift, is futile. You may push and force things to happen, but if your internal state contradicts your desires, your external world will always return to reflect your dominant beliefs. This is why people who strive for success while harboring deep feelings of unworthiness often find themselves self-sabotaging. They may achieve temporary victories, but their inner state eventually pulls them back to the level of their true belief. On the other hand, those who confidently assume success, even before any external validation, find opportunities flowing to them effortlessly. Their reality shifts not because of luck or external effort, but because they have first changed within. They have rewritten the unseen script of their lives, and the world merely follows suit. Your inner dialogue is the most powerful force shaping your reality. Every moment you are talking to yourself in your mind, consciously or unconsciously. What are you saying? Are you reinforcing old patterns of limitation, doubt, and fear? Or are you speaking as the person who already has what they desire? If you constantly tell yourself, "Things never work out for me," "I am always struggling," or "I will never find love," your subconscious mind accepts these statements as truth, and the world arranges itself accordingly. But when you change your inner dialogue, when you replace old limiting beliefs with new empowering ones, the external world has no choice but to shift in response. Begin telling yourself a new story. Instead of saying, "I am always struggling," say, "I am always provided for." Instead of "I am unworthy of love," affirm, "I am deeply loved and cherished." At first it may feel unnatural, but repetition is key. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts what you impress upon it through persistent thought and feeling. This is the power of the unseen. What you dwell on internally must become your experience externally. You do not need to manipulate circumstances or force things to happen. The moment you shift your internal state, your thoughts, your assumptions, and your emotions, you set in motion the forces that will reshape your world. Think of a seed planted in the ground. You do not see its roots forming beneath the soil, but in time it sprouts into something visible. The same is true for your thoughts and assumptions. The moment you change your inner state, the seed is planted. Even if nothing appears to change externally at first, trust that the unseen forces are at work. Persist in your new inner dialogue, and in time the outer world will catch up. What is unseen is more real than what is seen, because the unseen is the cause, while the seen is merely the effect. Reality is not something happening to you, it is something happening through you. The world is your mirror, reflecting back the state you consistently occupy. Change the cause, and the effect must follow. Shift your internal world, and your external world will shift in response. Speak your desire with conviction. Declare it as if it were already yours, as if it were an undeniable fact. Words are not just sounds, they are vibrations, carrying the power to shape the unseen forces of reality. Every word you speak is an affirmation, a decree that calls forth circumstances to align with your inner world. But speaking alone is not enough. You must believe, you must accept, without question, that what you have declared is already in motion, already unfolding, already yours. Doubt is the great destroyer of manifestation. It is not enough to merely state your desire if in the next breath you question whether it will come to pass. The moment you allow doubt to creep in, you cancel out the power of your words. It is like planting a seed in the soil and then digging it up every day to check if it is growing. No seed can take root under such conditions. The same is true for your desires. Once spoken, once declared, they must be left undisturbed, nurtured only by faith, not by fear or impatience. Belief is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the unwavering knowing that what you have asked for is already on its way, even if there is no physical evidence yet. When you truly believe, you do not beg, you do not plead, and you do not chase. You simply expect. You walk through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that everything is being arranged perfectly in your favor. The how and the when are not your concern. Your only task is to remain in a state of fulfillment, to hold on to the feeling that what you desire is already yours. And then you must let go. This is where most people struggle. They speak their desires, they believe for a moment, but then they obsess over when it will happen, how it will come, and whether they are doing enough. This anxious energy only pushes the manifestation further away. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means surrendering control over the process and trusting that the unseen forces are working in ways beyond your comprehension. Imagine placing an order at a restaurant. Once you tell the waiter what you want, you do not follow him into the kitchen to ensure the chef prepares it correctly. You do not question whether the food will arrive. You simply trust that in time it will be served to you. The same principle applies to manifestation. Once you have spoken and believed, your only responsibility is to carry on with your life in the certainty that what you have ordered from the universe is already being prepared. Letting go is an act of supreme faith. It is the ability to release attachment to the outcome and instead rest in the knowing that all is unfolding as it should. The moment you release control, you make space for miracles. You remove resistance and allow things to come together in ways that your mind could never have orchestrated. The unseen forces do not operate on human logic. They work in divine precision, arranging circumstances and connections beyond what you can perceive. Those who master this process, speak, believe, and let go, find that manifestations unfold effortlessly. They do not struggle or force, they align. They live in expectation, not desperation. They move through life with a calm assurance, knowing that everything they desire is already on its way. Your words have power, your belief activates them, and your ability to let go allows them to manifest. Speak your desire with clarity, believe in it with unwavering certainty, and then release it, trusting that all things are moving in perfect harmony. When you live by this principle, you will see the unseen forces work in your favor, bringing your dreams into reality in ways more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. Everything you desire is already within your reach. The unseen forces are always working in your favor, shaping your reality according to your inner world. Your words hold power. Speak with conviction. Your consciousness creates belief without doubt. The law of assumption is unbreakable. Live from the end. Feel the fulfillment now. Emotion is the bridge to manifestation. The unseen is more real than the seen. Your external world is only a reflection. And finally, speak, believe, and let go. Trust that it is done. When you align your thoughts, words, and emotions with the reality you wish to experience, nothing can stand in the way of its manifestation. Stop looking for proof in the physical world before you believe. Create the belief first, and the proof will follow. You do not need to struggle, chase, or force anything. Shift within, and the world must shift to match you. All that remains is for you to trust. Live in the knowing that what you desire is already yours. Walk with confidence, act as if, and remain unwavering in your faith. Reality is not happening to you. It is responding to you. You are the creator, the cause, the power behind it all. Thank you.